You're listening to audio from the Decidedly podcast. For more information, find us on Instagram at Decidedly Podcast.
So I made a good decision.
All right.
You
It's rare for you.
All right. So what'd you say?
Nothing. I said that's rare for you.
I went and got my yearly physical.
Oh, ugh.
Right. I know, but I had skipped it during the pandemic. Went and
So this is like a once every 5 years thing that you're doing?
Well, I put it off because it's not my favorite thing to go do. Right. But
when did you start going annually?
Probably 10 years ago.
Okay. So that's something that I can wait on.
Yeah, you could. Well, you're gonna want to wait when I tell you this story.
Oh, okay.
I get the doctor, and I've had this doctor for a while, and part of the service is that he does an annual workup for you. Right, so you got to go get blood and urine. You got to go to the lab. You got to wait.
Oh, God.
I know, it's a whole thing. And then you go in and they measure all this stuff about you and, the whole thing. And then he spends a good 45 minutes talking about, here are the results. And
that's a much more in depth than most people are getting with their annual physical.
Yeah, well, I'm paying for it. And so I do this every year, and he tells me, hey, your cholesterol's doing this, or your blood pressure's doing this, or whatever. All right. So he's telling me all these things. And tells me what to do about it. So it's good. So the least fun part of that, one of the unfun parts, is going and getting my blood drawn, right? Because I hate that. I've got a history of that not going well for me, right? Did I ever tell you this story? So years ago, Mom was working. There was somebody at the office that their kid needed like a bone marrow transplant. It was like one of these horrible things.
Oh,
right.
Man.
I know. And so she was like, hey, do you want to get tested to see if you're a donor? Right. Well, you can't say no to that. I mean, you have to do that.
Would you save my kid's
life?
Right.
Would you like to save my kid?
I don't like needles.
Yeah. Right. So I'm like, oh, yes, of course. I'll go. I'll go do this.
Get out of that.
Right. And I was not looking forward to it, because the last time I had given blood, which was like in high school, for some blood drive, I passed out.
Yes. A curse you transferred to me.
Yes. So in front of my friends, I pass out in high school, right?
Okay.
Which is the not good.
No, not great.
So anyway, so I had that in my memory. So I go and give blood, or they draw blood to see if you're a match, whatever it is. All right. So on that day, I have people at my office that I've paid, consultants that I've paid. I've flown them in. They're there all day. Right. So I'm paying these guys a lot of money. And I say to them at lunch, I said, oh, we're going to take an hour lunch. By the way, I have to run and go do this little blood test thing. I'll be right back. We'll meet you back here. Okay. No big deal. So I drive downtown. I go to the office, and they have the testing stuff on the top floor, like the 35th floor of this building downtown. So I go and I sit down, and they're going to do the blood test. Right. So they're drawing a fair amount of blood. All right. It's a good 5-gallon jug of this blood that they're going to draw out. And they got a needle that's like the size of a pencil. Right.
Okay.
So
thick.
It's big, right? Yeah. And so they put you, you're sitting in the chair, and she jabs me with this needle to draw out the blood. I know. Okay. To draw out the blood. That's the last thing I remember.
You're a grown man.
I'm a grown man in front of my spouse's work colleagues, right?
Yeah.
All right. At the top floor of this building downtown. All right. So the next thing I remember, that I'm laying on this couch, and they're saying my name, like Shawn, Mr. Smith, they're waking me up, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. You got the blood. You're like, and I look at my watch. I'm like, I got to go. I have people at my office that I've paid.
Yeah.
Who are, wait, I got to go. I got to go. So they're like, well, you really should, sit here for a while and maybe, just take some time, have a cookie, have a juice, whatever. I'm like, I don't have time. I got to go. So I get on the elevator, 35th floor, hit lobby, right? I'm going down, and about midway down, deciding to get up and leave, I recognize was a major decision.
Okay, so
poor decision.
Lightheaded.
Oh yeah. And so it's going ding, ding, ding. So I just hit the next floor, right?
Yeah.
All right, floor 20, right? Door opens. I'm going to, make a break to the bathroom or whatever. And I don't make it that far. I make it into the elevator lobby, and there's a trash can there at the elevator lobby. And I just throwing up into this trash can in the elevator lobby. Or so I thought. It was not an elevator lobby. This elevator opened right into the offices of a law firm.
They had the whole floor.
They had the whole floor. So
you just it's basically like busting in someone's front door of their house and going,
yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly.
Sorry, it was an emergency. Bye.
Sorry. So I threw up, and I just look over at this receptionist, and her eyes are expanded, and she's like, "What are you, sir?" I'm like, "So what do you do?" You just go like, "Sorry," and I just get back on the elevator.
Got a blast. I'm outie.
Out of here. So anyway, that's a diversion. But I go, and I've got to.
So you're talking about your physical.
I'm talking about my physical. Sorry. Right. So I go, and I've got to get the blood test and the urine, the whole bit. All right. So that's not the worst part about it.
Yeah.
The worst part is after spending an hour that they've got to examine you. Okay. And you'll learn about this as you get older. There's a point in your life.
That's what they say.
Where you get examined. Right. And so you've got to
in a new way.
Right. You've got to drop trowel. And my doctor, who's I've been going to for 10 years, 75-year-old guy, great doctor, knows his business. And
I'm wondering where the decision's coming into this.
It is so uncomfortable. So anyway, okay. You've got to do that. And then he turns into Dr. Jellyfinger. You got to turn around.
Don't ever say that
again. and you've got to.
Yeah, no, I know. I get it.
I thought, put your hands on the table, but you don't put your hands on the table. You got to put your elbows on the table, which is way worse. Right. And he examines you. All right. Okay. So the point is, I'm getting to the point of the story.
Are you?
Yeah. So I've been doing that. It's my least favorite thing in the world to do, but I've been doing it for 10 years, and my doctor retires, right? He's 75 years old. He retires. And they get a new doctor. Okay. So the new doctor is it's bad enough for the 75-year-old guy that I've known for 10 years. The new doctor is this young, pretty little blonde woman.
Oh, the worst of all those combinations.
Yes. I'm like, oh, this is worse. This is worse. And by the way, so I told this.
I want the old man back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I thought that was worse. This was worse.
Yeah.
And so I was telling this to Mom, by the way, and she kind of rolls her eyes like, oh, poor baby. Like she's no sympathy for her. She's the most sympathetic person I know. And she's like, shut up.
Nah, you don't know that. You don't know how humiliating that is.
Right. And so I'm stalling. I mean, we're having our meeting and she's going through my numbers. All right. And we're getting to the end of the meeting. And
you know this is coming.
And I know it's coming. She knows it's coming. And all of a sudden she goes, well, all right, we're good. And I was like, okay. And she goes, oh, by the way, your PSA numbers are just fine. So we don't have to, we'll just use those. We don't have to do the exam, let's say. And I was like, wait, what? And she goes, oh, yeah. We don't have to do that. And I said, wait a minute. Are you telling me that for 10 years I've been having this done and I did not need to?
This is an optional.
She goes, oh yeah, Dr. So-and-so, he's pretty old school.
That's some...
He would do it, he really believed in doing it, the old way, but kind of most doctors don't do that. I said, you're kidding me. She looks at me. She goes, now, sir, it is a service we can provide. And so I said, who would want that? And she looks at me and she goes, you'd be surprised.
Oh, no.
So anyway, that was my good decision recently is by getting my exam done.
Okay. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. So I have questions for you today off Reddit that I pulled because I know you love.
We're gonna help some people make good decisions. They're stuck in the valley of indecision.
Yes,
and we will guide them toward the right path.
Oh, you will. I'm
gonna make your choices for you.
Okay. These are from the Reddit subreddit Make My Choice. So the first one is from Icy Job 4623.
Cool.
It was, should I take girlfriend's advice? My girlfriend has asked me to wear a suit and tie every day for a month as kind of a dare or challenge. Should I go along with it?
Okay.
That's it.
I'm sorry.
It. Yeah.
He didn't expand on that or anything.
That's all he got.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make an assumption here. I've got an answer for you.
All right.
I'm assuming that doesn't sound like something that I would dare someone to do as a gag. That doesn't sound like, it'd be funny. I dare you to go jump that fence, or I dare you to go swim across that freezing pond. No, that's the dare or insistence of someone
you're thinking it's a hint.
Someone needs some self-improvement work, and I think she's looking out for your best interest there, bud, and it's probably good for you. So take a good hard look at how you're dressing and how you're carrying yourself. If that seems strange to you to wear a suit every day for a month, then that means you're probably dressing pretty far off from a suit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt. The way that we carry ourselves is important. The way that we carry ourselves, it matters a lot. I was actually telling someone about my experience just a couple of days ago. I remember when I was young, like early college age, I came home from like a concert or something. I don't remember where I was. And I had just a terrible service experience somewhere. And I was telling you about it.
Yes.
And I said, oh my gosh, you'll never believe how the cashier treated me. They were so rude. They forgot my order. They overcharged me. They ignored me at the front. They didn't say hello. They did all the things to make you mad during a service experience, right? Just, horrible. And I wasn't even demanding of anything. Like, I just wanted to be treated like a regular customer. And it was awful. And you said, you tell a lot of these stories. And I was like, what? You go, yeah, like this doesn't ever happen to me. And I don't know if you made this following comment or if it was something that I realized on my own, but I sat there and I go, well, damn, why is he getting a different treatment than me?
Right.
We act generally the same. We speak generally the same.
Okay.
So what is different between me and my dad that's causing us to get such different treatment? Well, it was how we were dressing. Most of the time at that point in my life, I wasn't dressing nice. I didn't have a professional job. I wear jeans and a t-shirt and a ball cap out. And you weren't.
Right.
You're dressing like a professional man. And so I started to dress better after that. And I'd stopped having that
Interesting.
I stopped having that experience.
That's interesting.
People will treat you with the respect that you treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you carry yourself poorly, you don't comb your hair, you don't shave, you don't wear clean clothes, you're probably not going to get the treatment that you might think you deserve, or you think you deserve poor treatment. So wearing a suit and tie, there's a reason it's the uniform of the business world.
So there's a book called The Power of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, and he mentions, one of the things he mentions in there, it's a really good book, is around social proof. And they did an experiment where they got in New York City at stoplights or crosswalks.
Yeah.
And they had some guy that was just dressed in normal, not dressed very nicely, try and cross against the light. And not that many people followed this guy.
Yeah.
Right? And then they went to the exact same crosswalk, same time of day. They had that same guy, and they dressed him in a suit and tie. And he crossed against the crosswalk. Everybody followed him.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Everybody followed. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
So dude,
so I'm gonna say go for it. It's probably gonna benefit you. Accept the challenge. You assume that your girlfriend has your best interests at heart, and dress well. Take care of yourself. Look clean. Look nice. Look put together. You'll be better off for it.
All right. You ready for your next one?
Yeah.
All right. So this is from Blathers 5 Eva. More money plus fully remote or pursue my dreams, sort of. That's what it says.
More money
plus fully remote or pursue my dreams, sort of.
Translate that from internet speak to English, please.
Here we go. Hi, I need some help choosing between two career options right now. I'm quite at a career crossroads. Basically, I have one job to offer in social media and one job offer to be a video editor at a professional production studio. Most of my work experience is in social media, and I kind of hate working in social media. I've worked on video editing as part of my social media job, TikTok, etc., and I've always loved the editing part a lot more. This editing job at a production studio is really rare. It would be a huge career move for my video editing. However, as the job title states, the social media job is a lot more money and fully remote, which I love working remote. While I do hate social media, I think I would probably work my way up to a marketing director position someday. If I did, I'd probably make a lot more money than I would ever make as a video editor.
You got job A, pays very well, don't really like the work, but the environment might be all right. Job B, pays less, love the work.
Yeah.
It's an easy choice. Before you make the choice, you got to ask yourself this question. How much money does it cost to give up on your dreams?
Ooh, that's good.
How much money does it cost? Is it millions of dollars or is it a $5,000 a year annual salary?
Yeah.
Is that it? And for a lot of people, it is. For a lot of people, $5,000, $10,000, a little bit more money here. I get an hourly increase in my base pay of a couple bucks. And so I'll do a job that I don't like. Okay. That's selling your soul for some money. And I don't think that works out well for most people. I think that most people that you look at, that you meet in your life that look miserable, that have sunken eyes, that can't seem to smile at a joke, those people who hate their jobs, I think that they pursued the wrong things for the wrong reasons. And pursuing a career path purely for the money, you're going to be disappointed because it's something that you're going to have to do. You said something to me one time when I was younger. You said, whatever career you choose, you become that. And I was like, what are you talking about? You were like, well, if you become a financial advisor, you start reading financial advisor magazines. You start listening to radio shows. You start having conversations about these topics, and that's who you become.
Yeah.
And so if you choose a career, you become that career. If you choose to become a doctor, you become a doctor. And one day you wake up and you go, holy crap, I spend 90% of my time being a doctor. I guess I'm a doctor.
Right.
You know, I guess I'm a guy who talks about health all the time.
Right.
And puts jelly on my fingers or whatever.
Yeah. Right.
So if you choose something that you don't like, you become someone who doesn't like what they do.
Yeah.
Whoa, geez, man. I don't want to become someone that doesn't like what I do all the time.
Oh, for sure.
I don't want to become someone, I don't want to become a graphic designer if I'm not a graphic designer, if I don't want to be like the other graphic designers that I know. If the lifestyle that the people are living in the industry that I'm pursuing for the money aren't living how I'm living, how I want to live, well, then I need to stay away from that and pursue something that's more in alignment with how I want to see myself in the future. So no, don't take the job that is paying you more. I understand that not everyone is in a situation where they're able to pursue something based purely on what their passions are. Maybe you got kids, you got wife, you got debt, you got a family. Maybe you do have to factor in the money a little bit more than I am in this diatribe. By and large, if you have the freedom to make the choice, if you're asking the question like you are on Reddit, and you're grappling with it, and you're not forced to make purely a mathematical decision, then you need to go with what you're passionate at. And over time, you will be more likely to put in the extra work, to develop the skills, to have positive energy around the work that you're doing, which can carry you towards making more money long term.
Right. And the reverse is true as well. If you're taking a job you don't like, then you're not going to have a passion around it. You're not going to spend time learning and getting better and building your competencies. And the other people who do love it are going to bypass you and take the positions and take the jobs from you, and you're going to lose money.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, good. I like your answer. All right. Next one from Beautiful Stay 8065. What should I do? Law or SWE? Next fall, I'm accepted to start at a very good law school, one of the top 20 in the country. I have good scholarship, $105,000 a year, but I'll still be $150,000 in debt when I graduate. Jeez.
That's a lot.
I really want to be an attorney, and I know that I'll find the work interesting and fulfilling, but the high-paying jobs are genuinely soul-sucking. They typically average 50 to 70 hours of work per week, but you get paid $235,000 your first year and $530,000 by your eighth. All right. Alternatively, I could work towards becoming a software engineer. That's SWE, I guess.
Okay.
I have a close family member who's done this successfully. I'm confident that I could be making $180,000 a year within 5 years. I don't think I'll enjoy the work as much, but being an attorney, but the hours are much more humane, right? Then they add, I also have a new baby, and I'm concerned that the law school attorney grind will make me miss most of her childhood. I've spoken with several attorneys who regret how much they work and said that the money wasn't worth missing much of their children's lives as they were forced to. Right.
Okay. So
what should they do?
Great. Similar. It's similar to the last question, but different.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, on one hand, everything that I already said about money is true. You got one pathway that you're more confident that you'll like. It pays you less money. Another one that you think you're probably not going to like, but it pays you more money. The gap in income there is big. The gap in income from 180 to 230 is larger than the average household income in the United States.
Right.
So that kind of sounds like, it's the same ballpark, 180, 230, right?
Right.
Well, you got an entire average family between you and between software engineer and attorney in this example. So that's big. At the same time, I want to highlight how much the money was referenced in that post.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot about the money. And that there wasn't a lot about the quality, the type of the work environment, the future growth and development. I mean, yes, he says, I think confidently one day I can be making 180. So there's some kind of ode to the future there. But where are you going to be 5 years after you make this choice? Where are you going to be 10 years after you make this choice? Where are you going to be 30 years after you make this choice and you've chosen to do something that you didn't evaluate based on how much you enjoy it? You evaluate based on the money that you're making. Some of the most unhappy people I know are attorneys. And I think it's not because the work of attorneys is so terrible. I think it's not because the people that choose to be attorneys are generally less happy than people who don't. I think it's because it's one of those careers where people are it can easily be sucked in by the money because the offers are so great right out of school. Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, not a lot of teachers aren't getting sucked into being teachers because
not doing it
of
for the
money. Right. So, but attorneys do, and people will just like this guy. I've got I've got an opportunity to be a software engineer. I really like that. I kind of enjoy that stuff, and I can see myself doing it. But geez, an extra $50,000 a year to go do something I don't know if. Well, okay. How is that going to play out for you? How are you going to enjoy yourself? You're going to have to spend time with yourself every day in a life that wasn't aligned and best suited for your strengths. So I would still say, again, it's not a mathematical choice. It's a choice about your own fulfillment. Mm-hmm. And if you're choosing to pursue earthly things, if you're choosing to pursue money, you're going to be unfulfilled. What was he saying? He was saying about the law.
He said
50 to 70 hours a week.
Yeah, 50 to 70 hours a week. You get paid $235, but by the 8th year, making $530.
So here's what I would say to that is, based on the tone of how he outlined this. Oh, but you make $230. Like that's that's a consolation for doing something that I don't really like doing. Which, first of all, 50 to 70 hours a week, if it's something that you really like, that's nothing. Doesn't really matter.
Doesn't sound like he really likes it, though. Sounds like
I know. If you hate it, that's an eternity. You might as well be in prison. If you hate what you're doing, 40 hours a week is terrible.
Right.
If you love what you're doing, 70 hours a week is going to happen on its own, whether or not it's required of you. So I'm going to say that $230,000 only sounds like a lot of money to someone who's never made $230,000.
Yeah.
So at the same time that there's this massive gap between 180 and 230, and that surely there's a huge gap between 180 and 530 or whatever he says he could be making one day, is that only sounds appealing if you've never been there. That only sounds like it's worth it if you've never made $200,000 or $300,000 or $500,000. Oh, geez, I could do something that I don't like for $500,000.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And guess what? You ask that guy when he's making $500,000 if he'd do something he didn't like for $5 million, and he would say yes again.
Yeah.
And then he will perpetually live a life of chasing money, all the while doing something that is losing his soul and makes him hate his own existence. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not worth it. The money is not going to make you happy. The money is not going to outweigh the lack of passion and fulfillment that you receive through your work. If you come and if the question was, hey, I like both of these paths equally, I can't really decide what I'm more interested in. Mm-hmm. And here are the pros and cons. One pays me less. One
take the money. Yeah.
Well, sure, take the money.
Yeah.
Right. But when when money is leading the decision making, it's especially with something that's so important like your career choice, what you actually have to spend your dang time doing.
Right.
It never works.
He's also looking at taking out $150,000 in student loan to do it.
Yeah. Right. I ain't even touching that. You're totally right. You're going to not only go do something that you hate, but you're going to be in debt, which means you're going to be stuck doing it.
Right. You got to do it. You can't jump. Yeah.
You can't come. Oh, shoot. I didn't. I actually realized that I hate this work and the $500,000 wasn't even worth it. Well, no, you can't go switch and go, I'm going to be a software engineer now. No, because now you're in debt to the tune of your entire annual salary just to make that mistake. Oh, have you ever met someone that went to professional school?
Well, of course.
And took out debt and then realized they didn't want to do it anymore?
Yes.
That's sad.
Yes.
It hurts me.
I had a client years ago who had over $200,000. She was a dentist, but had $200,000 in debt because of it.
Did she like being a dentist?
It didn't seem like it. It seemed like that was just kind of what she had to do. She didn't act like she loved being a dentist or anything.
Yeah. Doesn't get worse than that.
No. All right. So you ready for another one?
Mm-hmm.
This is from Such Turnover 1945. All right, here it is. This is a different one. Shifting gears. Should I marry him? A guy just proposed to me. Should I marry him? He's a good guy. He doesn't drink, smoke, gamble, or party.
Okay.
He has a good job.
Bar's really high there.
Here. All right. It's about to take a turn.
Okay.
It's about to take
He doesn't have a crippling drug habit.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that.
Right.
Hopefully that was a given. Hopefully all those things. Hopefully he's not drinking, gambling, and partying.
Yeah, she's raised the bar. He doesn't drink, smoke, or gamble or party. All right. He has a good job. Here it comes. He has multiple wives, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing. It's legal in the country I live in.
Well, legal isn't moral. Legality and morality are not synonymous.
Okay.
So it looks like the way that just the way that wraps up, but it's legal. That should never
legal.
That I forget that whether you need to be a sister wife or not. That shouldn't ever be needed to, and you should never have to say that to defend your argument. Right?
I would say if you are saying it, something's wrong.
If you're talking about the legality of anything, whether you're something you did that you're defending, something that you're considering doing, something that somebody else offered you, and you got to go, right, Shawn, it is legal.
Right.
You lose.
Yeah.
You are, that's not good. And it's not good.
Or you wouldn't be saying
it. You wouldn't be saying it. Because if you got to tell me, but it's legal.
Right.
Man, come on, man. It's like, I've been smoking weed. Weed's legal now. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean that you need to be doing it 3 times a day. Right. It's legal, dude. Right. Well, okay. A lot of things are legal. Yeah. And me laying on my couch all day long and eating Lay's potato chips for 3 out of 3 meals a day is legal.
It's legal. Yeah.
Legality means nothing. That just means nobody's going to put you in a
cage arrest you for it. Yeah.
If that's your standard, if the consequence that you're trying to avoid here is going to prison, and that's all you care about, well, then we talk about legality. If you're looking to align yourself to a purpose that is good, if you're looking to get the most out of life, then you're not talking about legality. So, first of all, that's my only argument that I need. Second of all, I would generally say that if you're asking whether or not you should marry someone, if you're asking internet strangers whether or not you should marry someone, then the answer is also going to be no.
You got to turn to Reddit to see if you should marry this dude. The qualifications he doesn't drink and smoke.
Let me ask some people that don't know this guy. Now, I'm guessing you asked your family and friends.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to assume that you already did ask that. I would ask them if you haven't yet and see what their take is. If you don't have the ability to do that, just remember this breakdown. We're 0 for 2 on reasons right here. 1 is that you're asking us in the first place. 2, he has multiple wives. Not a good sign. Not going to be able to commit to you like a man should. God says 1 man and 1 woman. So we're going to go ahead and lean on that wisdom.
All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This is from
Let's do this one more.
Arrow Motel. Is it okay to take water from work? So now
so far I'm okay. So far I'm leaning towards a particular answer.
Okay. All right. The water is ultra pure water that comes out of what I assume is a pretty expensive machine. The water I'd suppose is supposed to be used in experiments, and I'm taking it for my hair. I work in a lab. I think if there's a lab,
changed my answer.
Yeah, it's about to change. If you work in a lab, just so you know, if you have special water, there's a lady there taking water for her hair. I work in a lab, and whenever I take it, I feel like I'm doing something wrong, and I hope I don't get caught.
So generally speaking, I'm no longer a fan of people who take things out of labs. We had a whole issue with that for a couple of years.
What do you mean?
Yeah, definitely don't take any bats out of labs. Taking the special water. Okay, so you had me in the first half. Taking the water. Another rule of thumb: if you're generally speaking, if you are asking whether or not something is okay. Can I do this?
Or you're worried that you're going to get caught.
You're worried, am I going to get caught? Is this legal? Well, maybe let's act above reproach.
Yeah.
You know, so I already, I'm that, I don't like it from that perspective. Second, sounds like it's not intended for you to take.
Well,
here's another,
Okay.
here's the easy thing. The easy thing to do, you just ask them.
That's exactly what I was going to say. There must be a reason she hasn't asked if she could take some water.
The fact that you're asking us and just not asking your employer, to me, tells me that you know that it's wrong. And it's theft.
Yeah.
That's theft. Now, a lot of people get kind of uncomfortable when you point out to them that something that they're doing or something that they're considering doing is violates one of our very first 10 rules of life,
right,
that we've been given,
right,
because whether or not you believe, you're following those rules and you recognize the merit of those
society
rules.
Is following
society
those rules.
Has certainly followed those rules for a long time.
Well, I would
right?
go.
So nobody disagrees with the 10 Commandments.
Well,
nobody. No, there's nobody out here.
Let me say this on that: is those 10 rules for life, let's call them,
yes,
existed before they got written down on tablets.
Of course, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, society developed those.
Nobody,
right?
Nobody has had an issue with those,
right?
Ever,
right?
Not for a long time,
right?
Whether you think Moses wrote them down on some tablets or not. So that's why you're asking the question: is this what you're really asking? Is this theft?
Right.
Okay, which already leads me to believe there probably is.
Mm-hmm.
But people really don't like it. With theft, people want to justify, and this is the case with all transgressions, with all sins. But, it's not that damaging to the person that is on the other end. Well, nobody's really victimized that much. Right. And so I would imagine that part of this, this person's just internal justification, because if you're taking this over and over, this special water for your hair, there's some justification that's going on, because you already know that it's wrong, which is why you are not asking your employer directly and you're asking us on the internet. You already know it's wrong, so you've been justifying it to yourself. And I would imagine that what you're telling yourself is, well, it's free. I mean, come on, it's water. I mean, it doesn't cost them anything. What's it going to hurt?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is not up to you to judge the impact of your actions on others. It is not up to you to make a decision on whether or not something's permissible based on the impact that it has on other people. Is it wrong or not? Are you stealing or not? I don't care if it's a car or a stick of gum.
Right.
Theft is theft.
Yeah.
And it should be treated the same way. So if you're stealing, I don't care if it's free water. If you know that it's not for you, don't take it. If you're unsure whether or not it's able to be, you can walk away with some, just ask your employer. And if you're too afraid to do that, then you know the answer.
Hey, I like that.
Get some difficult ones for me.
You want me to find some really hard ones? I want to
think like those people. Those are so easy that the people who wrote them, they know the answer already.
Well, I brought that up to somebody the other day, and I said most of the time when you're faced with a decision,
you know the answer.
You know the answer, and the real question is, why aren't you doing that?
What is causing you to need validation? Mm-hmm. A friend of mine was having an issue with one of her employees, and this happened. I don't know. Should I fire him? Should I train him more? Should I give him another chance? Should I blah, 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 blah. And my other friends are saying, you should do this, or what about this, or have you thought of this, or tell me more about what happened. I need more information. And I just looked at her and said, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what to do. Why are we sitting here? You know what to do. 9 times out of 10, we know what the decision is. We know what we need to do. We know what the right course of action is. We need to ask not what should I do, but why do I need other people to tell me? Someone put this to me really well. There's a woman named Karen. She said to me, when we seek advice from other people, we are placing them on a pedestal above ourselves. Right? Okay. Now, sometimes that's good to say, hey, like you are someone with expertise and with wisdom and with knowledge that I don't have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like your doctor.
Okay. You should ask your doctor for advice.
Right.
Right. But we definitely ask people for advice that shouldn't be on a pedestal above us. And when you're asking internet strangers, that is the low. I mean, you are asking people who absolutely do not have any sort of qualification.
Right.
And when you're sitting around asking, oh, should I fire this person or not? Well, you know, I don't know this person.
Right.
You do. You run your business. You run your life. You know these people who are involved. You know the characters of this story. You are certainly the most qualified person to make this decision, and you know what's right. So we've got to look inward and say, why am I unable to take action? Why am I unable to take the first steps in what I know to be the right course and the right path? And there's a lot of different answers for that.
Yeah. I think going with the question of, asking, why are you not doing what you know you should be doing is really helpful. And one of the other things that I've talked to people about is to say, in your example, she was having issues with a staff person, should I get rid of the staff person or not? And if you frame it in a way to say, all right, if new buyers came into my company, bought my company out, now they're in charge, what would they do? Answer becomes pretty obvious. Oh, yeah. Oh, they would can this person who's done this. They wouldn't put up with that, because they don't have all the legacy issues that are giving you pause. They would just make the right decision. Right. So that's sometimes helpful.
Another way to say it, they don't have the emotional issues that are that are coming up and acting as speed bumps and roadblocks, getting in the way of that decision. Oh, but I remember that one time.
Yeah.
Oh, but what about, how's this going to impact our friendship or whatever?
Right. And sometimes those are worth considering, but the right decision is usually the right decision. And sometimes you'll make the right decision and still feel bad about it. That doesn't.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. The fact that you make the right decision doesn't absolve you from the emotions that will happen that cause you some pain sometimes. Sometimes the right decision causes you discomfort.
There you go. Let's wrap it up on that.
All right.
Sometimes the right decision causes pain and discomfort. You cannot avoid the emotional toll of being responsible.
There it is.
You just made a great decision to listen to this episode of Decidedly. Make another great decision and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate your support. It helps others find our community and defeat bad decision-making in their own lives. For more daily decision-making insights, check us out at decidedlypodcast.com and on Facebook and Instagram at Decidedly Podcast. Thanks again for listening. I'm Sanger Smith, and this is Decidedly.
Insights, advice, and comments provided by Shawn Smith, Sanger Smith, and speakers identified as part of the Decidedly podcast should not be considered recommendations. Speakers not identified as members of Decidedly are expressing their opinion, and their statements should not be construed as reflecting the views of the Decidedly team. This podcast is produced solely for informational purposes, not personalized advice.